Someone put a comment up on Facebook yesterday which said Mercury is going retrograde from today until the 4th of November in the sign of Scorpio, and I'm a Scorpio, so will someone please kill me now? So we don't have to be born in the sign of Scorpio or follow astrology to know that something momentous is afoot. We can all feel it. But there's a story that's full of symbolism. So let's see if we can pull our divine scientist, physicist, alchemist and psychologist together so that we can have an understanding of its deep meaning. It's a story about a man who led a very subsistence living with his wife and small son, and it seemed that every endeavor he had undertaken, just when he was on the cusp of success, some sabotage mechanism would come along and it would prove to be unsuccessful again and again. So he really felt that he was bedeviled. But one day he was out in the forest gathering the meager twigs and branches that he took to the village to sell, to try to put bread on the table. He noticed that there was a raven following him wherever he went. Wherever he went in the forest, the raven would follow him. And at first his heart started to beat faster and faster because he immediately thought that this was a sign of the angel of death coming to get him and that he was going to die. But just as he was lopping a branch of a tree, the raven came to rest on another branch, and somehow something arose up in the man, giving him the courage to speak. So he addressed the raven. "Who are you, and what are you following me for?" And he wasn't at all surprised when the raven responded to him in his own language. And the raven said, "Well, I am your misfortune that has been following you all of your life." And the man kind of nodded inside and out to realize, yeah, I knew that, I know. And so the man said to him, "Well, what can I do about it? How can I be rid of you?" And the raven said, "Well, if you do exactly what I tell you to do, I will leave your life never to return." And so the raven instructed the man, "On full moon, you must gather all of your belongings and leave your house behind, embarking to you know not where. But if you delay a day or two, a piece of me will remain with you, and if you do not follow these instructions, I will be with you for the rest of your life." So hastily the man gathered his bits of wood and went back to his house and related this to his wife, who, of course, agreed with him that they should do as the raven said. So they immediately packed up all their belongings into a wagon, ready to leave the very next morning, which was the morning after the full moon had reached its ascendancy. So they departed, following a road to where they did not know. But they hadn't gone too far along the road when their young son said, "I'm thirsty. And when the wife looked for the flagon that contained the water that they were to carry with them, she realized it had been left behind. Now the man insisted that they should continue on, but the son whined and cried and said, "I'm thirsty," and so the wife insisted that they go back to the house to retrieve the flagon of water. And when they came back to the house and the man went in to gather the water, the flagon spoke to him and said, "Aha, you've come back. I've got you." The man was absolutely devastated. But what could he do? He took the flagon of water and he went back to the wagon. But then he decided that he would try to leave the flagon behind after the son had his fill. But just as they were driving away, there was the flagon beside him on the wagon seat. So the husband, of course, said to the wife what had happened, and both of them were terribly, terribly dejected and distressed by this. But as they were driving along, the man picked up the flagon and threw it off into a forested area that they happened to pass. But in the blink of an eye, the flagon was back on the seat beside them, and they were just devastated. What could they do? But as it happened, they came to a river that had a bridge that crossed over it. And just before they embarked on the bridge, the wife said to her husband, Stop the wagon." But she would not tell him why, just in case the flagon overheard. And she got out of the wagon and she gathered a lot of pebbles. And she filled the flagon with pebbles. And then as they set off and crossed the bridge, she tossed the flagon full of pebbles into the water over the side of the bridge. And they waited with bated breath, but the flagon did not return. So with a great sighs of relief, they went off along the road until they came to a little village that was quite welcoming. So they settled there, and the man was looking for some means for them to make a living, and he found that he could become a fisherman. So he would go down to the river nearby and he would cast his lines and his nets, and he found that they could make quite a living as a fisherman, selling their fish in the village. But one day, when he was fishing, he drew out on his line a white fish, and it was so beautiful that he decided that he would not sell it in the village as he did with the other fish, but he would keep it for his own family. And when his wife was gutting the fish, she found inside a stone that seemed to gleam with its own light. They found that even in the dark of night, this stone would glow and illuminate the area. But the man decided that this was so precious, he would make it into a lamp. And this was what he did. So the stone was placed in a lamp and placed by a window. And an amazing thing happened. Outside the window, a tree grew. It was a carob tree, and its fruit was so sweet that they were able to share the abundance of what it brought with the villagers around them, bringing amazing results. This carob tree kept them in wealth and abundance for the rest of their life. As we put together the archetypes and the symbols and the characters that are represented in this story, what is its deep meaning for us? What do the symbols mean for us? The demon, the sabotage, the full moon, the timing, the enactment of filling the flagon with pebbles and throwing it in the running stream. The white fish, the stone, the tree, the fruit, all have meaning. What's the deep meaning for us?